So this is with respect to the craving question that we had in the unconditional acceptance and surrender group, the one which initially Pooja started. Okay, she mentions that she has all of these cravings, and so she was asking for a solution for that, right? So if you want, let me just reiterate the question. These days, I have a lot of cravings. I eat like a hungry dog. I don't know. I know it's impacting my body, but then also I'm not able to control it. Earlier, I never had cravings. I try to control my cravings, but the more I try, the more intense it gets. I feel guilty after eating all the stuffs, and at the back of the mind, I always thought that the next time I will not do it, and always think how acceptance and surrender will help. So here I basically mentioned that when you look at food and you want to eat, I'm sure you're looking at wanting happiness from eating it. So my major question, sorry, my major point that was uh, the person who has asked this question has already been through a, a lot of methods of natural cleansing, fruit diet, fruit only diet, and then let's say any some form of nature cure work has already happened, and despite that there are lots of other challenges as well, because of course you see healing does not really depend on the food or anything. It actually depends on the person and his mindset and the way he's looking at things, and those kinds of things. So basically I was coming majorly from a point of view of the root cause, the root fix for this whole thing. There is a root cause for this entire problem, which is the person and their perspectives towards the world, right? So it is always good to address everything at this level where the mind is involved. But of course, not all the time. As a nature care practitioner, I have not been able to work with everybody right from at the mind level. So in those cases, we have definitely started at the body level, which means go through fruit cleansing, juices, and those kinds of things, right? Initially, it helps because all of those also come with a lot of high energy. So when there is a high energy coming into the body, the energy that the body itself has is sort of saved because the digestion and other things um, is not that intensive, right? So that saved energy is used, the body uses it uses it for the cleansing process. And of course, they go through a lot of detox and other things, which I'm not going to be dealing with as of now in this post, right? So now that the same person has been on this journey for the last few years on the physical cleansing part and all of that, now she is a part of my classes where we are talking about mind-based healing, or working on body's innate ability to heal itself, right? So why did this whole issue with body, why did the body actually become diseased? The body became diseased majorly because the emotions in various aspects of life were not processed properly. So when we have certain thoughts, and then there are emotions with respect to those thoughts, right? And those emotions are, let's say, very low frequency emotions, like let's say anger or um, unhappiness of some sort, different emotions which actually leads to unhappiness. So those kinds of emotions, if they are not fully experienced, but let's say while it is being experienced itself, you sort of try to shut it off, or you try to basically it's not experienced fully at a physical level, let's say as a smile or as a cry or whatever it is. So over a period of time, the person continues to keep recollecting and recollecting, goes through the same emotions over and over again. And those emotions, those negative emotions or those low frequency emotions basically get trapped inside the body, because our body is more like a conduit. It is not meant to store energy. So when the emotions are not released physically, it tends to get stored in the body, and those low frequency emotions don't travel faster, and those tend to get accumulated in various organs or in various parts of the body. So now repeated application, repeatedly, if we keep doing such things in various aspects of our life, where we have a lot of likes and the likes were not fulfilled, where desires were not fulfilled, right? And the one desire will lead to another desire. One will get fulfilled, one will not get fulfilled. If it's not fulfilled, it will lead to anger, frustration, irritation, and whatnot. If it gets fulfilled, that will probably lead us to more desires, and then those more desires. So it's like a huge chain of never ending desire and its children, right? And if those things are, subsequent emotions are not handled properly in the body, then what will happen is it will get accumulated like this. And then the body is now continuing to get diseased and diseased and diseased, because those emotions, although they are energy, over a period of time, it becomes physical. The more and more you keep, what do you say, nourishing that kind of energy and accumulate that kind of energy, it becomes physical in nature, and those will become toxins in the body. And see, it's the nature of the person, right? So the more it becomes physical, the more physically we start getting affected. Let's say like a cold, cough, and it becomes a toxic, it is called toxemia in the body, or it's a toxic condition where the body's acidity level is pretty high. Now, of course, you go through cleansing and other things. Again, you're bringing in a high frequency food and other habits into your lifestyle. And then now all the physical is getting cleansed. Now, what about the mind that actually caused this whole thing? The mind and the perspective towards the world, the very first time when all of those things started to get accumulated. How are we going to deal with that? Because if the root cause is not addressed, how will you continue to keep maintaining the body like this? Because the mind, which is a source of, which is the reason for putting all the garbage into the body, is continuing to put garbage into the body, right? So how do we address that? So that is what this class is going to talk about. It's talking more about the garbage that we are constantly putting into the body, and um, that is what we are addressing here. So this is at the physical level. If you keep maintaining the body with all of those things, which is something that I have also been through. I'm not really contesting that part at all. When Pooja asked the question, Pooja has already been into this path for a very long time. So I had to really tell her that there is a root cause that you need to fix here, and it is not. And of course, the objective of the class is to go at the root, go deeper and deeper into healing, right? So when we come to innate nature of the body's healing, it means that your body already has a capacity to heal itself. If it has the capacity to, let's say, make itself diseased, it also has the capacity to make itself clean. So, or disease free. So if it has both these things, if it can make and also heal itself, then there, while it was making that, did it use any props to actually put acids into the body? No, it did not. It was actually our emotions which eventually manifested into physical. So if it that can happen, it means that we have to just go back from that physical to the subtle, which is back to energy, and so that the energy can just get out of the body, right? So that is called the innate healing ability of the body. Innate healing ability of the body does not depend on anything external on the long run. Initially, any form of a practitioner does use props to help a person clean up, but on the long run, that has a threshold limit. You can't go beyond a point where you are continuing to maintain the physical, because we are constantly evolving, And the need of the body to actually drop its limited belief systems is very huge as you keep going higher and higher, because you're evolving. It's like a train, it's like a slow train that we have boarded, and then that train is just going up north in terms of awareness. So as you need to keep going higher, or as the train takes you higher and higher, you have to drop the excess baggage off. And irrespective of what your lifestyle habits are, let's say even if you're on fruits or vegetables or greens or all of those kinds of specific choices, those will not work for us anymore, because the point of where we started to the point where we are right now is very different. At that time it may have worked, but today it will not work. So why is it that if food was the cause for our healing, so if food was actually healing us, why is the same food not healing us? It will not. That is a whole. See, why did I come into this whole journey, or why did I come to this point, is during COVID, what happened, even before COVID, 2020 March or something, COVID started, 2019 itself, 19 November or something like that. I had this inner urge to sort of go into mind-based healing, because I was constantly asking myself, what is that? What is a very quick way of actually healing permanently? There should be a way, because when I saw clients who are actually going on and on like a rubber band, suffering and all of those things, I feel like there should be a way where everybody should be able to understand, and everybody should be walking the same path. It should not be like a customized approach for you and customized approach for somebody. It should be actually something that they would understand with their own. If I am able to understand that this is the way I am have to work on this, somebody else also should be able to understand, because we are actually the divine beings. So this quick way of healing is something that I've been constantly questioning, and then I had this inner urge to go through mind-based healing. And of course, I didn't do too much work on that, but then it started. That is where it started. And then when it came to, and I started working on myself, because I was also realizing that I started realizing that the more when I worked with complex cases, like let's say cancer cases and all of that, and I would tell them, okay, we are not going to be eating these kinds of foods. These are complex foods. We are not going to be eating these things. We are only going to be doing juicing and stuff like that. Um, and when I would give reasons and other things based on my belief system, right, it would sort of strengthen those cages that I have actually built in my own system, right? The more I talk about those kinds of things, it actually strengthened the belief systems or the cages that I made in my own life. Yeah, it may have helped me in my journey, but then of course it was time for me to drop those belief systems. So hence this kind of awareness came to me, and I started realizing that I was actually strengthening something which I told for them. I thought it worked for them, but then it started not working for me, because for me it was like a POSC coming to show me that I needed to drop those kinds of things. But then I did not know about all of these things, right? So for me, whatever foods used to work earlier stopped working. Rather, when I ate those foods, I would actually have let's say, a problem in the body. Um, we typically, when I ate rice or something, I would have fissures. Fissures. I used to have fissures very long back, but then it started coming back again. And then for the fear of fissures, again, I had to fear eating rice. Right. So it was like a cascading reaction, that fear of the pain of the fissures would eventually make me fear the rice. And every time I would even see rice or think of rice, I would think of fissures, and then it would sort of compound the problem. And let's say while I had fissures, if there were few things that would always work for me in my own journey, like as a practitioner, let's say it worked for me, or it would work for my clients, whether it was sitz bath or whether it was, let's say, many of those other things that we do, it did not work for me. So I started questioning, hey, why is it that these things, when I applied religiously in my own life, why is it not working now? In the past, it actually worked. So that is when I started questioning my mind. Oh, my mind has shifted. So what is it that my mind will basically work on right now? So that is where we have to understand that we are not the same people anymore. Minute to minute, moment to moment, we are not the same people anymore. So when we are not the same people, our cells are not the same. It has shifted. Everything has shifted. The mind has shifted. The body has shifted. Everything has shifted. So when the point of view itself has shifted, how can the old point of view actually work for us? The reference point itself has shifted, right? So this um, this is very important to understand, that the same things that work for you in the past will not work. So that's when this mind-based thing started to sort of come to me. 2020, I realized that when, as a practitioner, many of my clients also were dependent on, let's say, fruits or vegetables and salads and um, juicing and all of those kinds of things. Due to COVID, during COVID, the market did not have all of that stock during lockdown, and people actually suffered, especially in many remote areas where they did not get a lot of produce at all. Maybe in the cities we did get, to some extent we did get. I didn't see any problem, but many people in the other remote areas of India actually saw a lot of problem. And that's when I realized, hey, if we are so dependent on these things to sort of heal us, then if these things are not available, my entire process is like gone. It's like the entire thing crashes. So there must be something else that actually should be working for us. So this quest of constantly looking at dropping the dependency on food for healing. Okay, that it was not about dependency on the food itself, but the dependency on the food for healing. So I stopped looking at food as a source of healing. So next time, whenever things happen to me, I would constantly look within for answers, for what should I do to address this problem that has come within me, and not mentally depend on, let's say, juicing or any of those things. For me, as a practitioner, if you know me, juicing has been really big. Even today I drink a lot of juices. Even today I eat a lot of fruits. But then mentally, I have stopped looking at them as a medicine. Food is not my medicine anymore. Food is something that I enjoy, and food is something that I eat because I like to eat those kinds of things. So I just eat. Let's say if I today I just feel like eating watermelon, I would eat watermelon. If I feel like eating watermelon and the salad, I would eat watermelon and the salad. If I eat watermelon and the rice, I would eat watermelon and rice. So there is absolutely nothing that is basically, rather I'm going towards a path where food is not something that is scaring me. Food is not something that I fear. Food is not something that I look for as a medicine. Food is a creation that I'm purely enjoying, and I'm grateful. So it is that kind of emotion that I'm attaching food to, versus dependency on that. Dependency, of course, to live is still there on the food, but there is nothing like I have to eat this, I have to eat that kind of thing. So because I have come from a lot of fear, right? Right from childhood, I've had a lot of fear. Oh, if I eat this, I'm going to become fat. If I eat that, I was very plumpy right from the beginning of my childhood. So I had always this um, thing about, okay, I'm going to become fat with respect to this and all of that. So hence, that fear-based belief system is what I started addressing. And hence, from that point onwards, my journey has come. 5 years later, I'm here today talking about many of these things. And it's not like I'm talking about these without actually applying it in my life. I have applied this in my life, and I have repeatedly applied this in my life. And I've actually seen a lot of, let's say, self-based healing, where there is um, it works pretty quickly in many of these small things in my life as of now. And I have worked with many people in my own clients, where if people are willing to do this, they and if they have had, if they've worked enough with me, and they trust me enough and all of those things, they have actually seen a lot of healing. And um, So when I started taking these classes, I knew exactly how things are structured, why things happen like this, and all of those things. Of course, we can call it a belief system. So, see, like they say, as a healer or as a person who has healed myself, I can only show you and I can only share with you what I understand, and I can only vibrate the level of healing that I am today, to the level I am today. So it is up to you to trust, to have faith, and to be surrendered and to drop your ego. And if you can walk with me on this path and come to that same frequency that I am, you will experience the same thing. See, it's all about frequency and energy. I just went to a point where I saw these things, where I'm experiencing these things for the kind of awareness. It's like, let's say, if I go to Kashmir, what I see in Kashmir and what you see in Kashmir will be the same because they're, let's say, Dal Lake and this and all of those kinds of things. But if I have to take, if I can only show you the path to get to that point. But you should be willing to walk to that point, right? Which is what even Buddha did. Somebody, there's a story which say, where they say, somebody came and asked Buddha, so Buddha, you are this enlightened being, so why don't you also make us enlightened? You can just touch us and make us enlightened, right? So then he said, no, then he told a story. He said, okay, where are you from? He said, I am coming from village A. I am now here in this village B. Then he said, do you know the path to go to village A? He said, yeah, yeah, sure. I keep going there and all of that. Then he said, okay, there is this person who wants to go to that village A. Can you just drop him there and come back? Can you just go with him completely to that place? He said, no, I can only tell him the direction to that place. I can only tell him the direction to that place. He has to walk there himself. I'm going to tell him, okay, there is a forest here, there is a well here, there is a this here, there is a that here. Those are the milestones. And then he will anyway go there. Let him go there by himself. He will anyway understand. It's pretty self-explanatory. So then that is when Buddha says, hey, see, you are not willing to take him there. So why do you think I'll be able to take you there? Unless you walk that path, you will not get that experience. You will not get the wisdom. I am here because of the wisdom that I got while walking to that point. It is not like I just was just dropped into that point and I got the wisdom. So the beauty is in the journey and the beauty is not in the milestone. So while getting to this point, what are the sceneries you saw? What all did you learn from the birds? What all did you learn from the insects? What all did you see on the road? What all did the trees talk about? That is what is actually something that you have to understand. So coming back to the point, uh, the reason why this whole body is diseased is majorly because of those emotions that were not processed properly. And those emotions were never with respect to food. Those emotions were with respect to, let's say, a family member, or it was with respect to somebody not doing properly, or some dissatisfaction in life, some low self-esteem, whatever. It has been there with us across many lives, predominantly, uh, and all of those emotions. And this in this life, how we want to experience that as a part of our soul plan. Who is going to be our pose, what is going to be our pose, everything is something that we have decided. So for some of us, definitely food and maybe some family members or some relationships have been a great pose. Maybe for some people, finances are a great pose. For some people, something else may be a great pose, let's say shelter. And so, those issues, what issues you have to face in life to be able to discover those low frequency emotions that you have trapped inside is something that is very unique from person to person. Okay. So, in this journey, if you're asking me this question about, so fundamentally, it is the trapped emotions. See, when I take your example itself, like what did I tell Pooja? I told be happy after eating it, while eating it. So why did she go behind some food? She went behind some food because she was looking for happiness, right? So at that, let's say if we take everything moment to moment in the now, okay, we are not talking about the past, we are not talking about the future, we are only going to be talking about the now moment. In this now moment, she has a craving and she wants to go eat that food, right? In the past, what has been her nature? She has an attached belief system whether, okay, eating that food is bad, right? The food is bad. The food is, let's say, poison or something like that. Let's say it's bad. And hence, I should not be eating it because if I eat it, then I will have this disease or if I will have this problem. Okay, it's a fear based belief system. Okay, so there is this emotion called lack or craving. She's craving because there's a sense of lack inside her, lack of fulfillment, okay, lack of happiness of some sort, lack of fulfillment. So how can that be fulfilled? That lack will be fulfilled if I eat this. Okay, that's a belief system. So what I'm trying to show her, so she's very good at avoiding it. Okay, she's strong. She has already formed a belief system where I am avoiding. So where has that led to her? Back to craving. So I was just trying to tell her, okay, go ahead and then drop that belief system that the food is bad. Go ahead and eat it. Go ahead and eat it. So you'll be happy while eating it. Okay, be happy while eating it. Now, now that food gave you happiness. Now, let's say there are other nested belief systems which will say, okay, if I eat that food, then these problems will happen to me. Okay, those are belief systems. Now those problems are going to happen majorly because those programming is already there, right? So now the food goes in and it will trigger those things, and those problems will happen. Now expect that there are these belief systems which have constantly been running in your system. So those problems will happen. Now, while those problems are happening during the period of illness, accept that there are these trapped emotions of fear and other things which are nested inside a belief system where this will happen to me, that will happen to me, and all that. Okay, which is why it happened. Okay, the food came and triggered those things, and then these experiences are a part of it. See, because food is also a POSC. Okay, it is coming to show you something, but the POSC itself is not bad or good. Because if it was bad, then if somebody else ate it, then it would have not caused the same problem, right? So uh, so it is now coming in. So when I said accept that problem, you of course, physically, God has already given her the knowledge, and let's say she can do juicing, she can do fruits and all of those kinds of things based on whatever she's already aware of. But I said what physical actions she take are very independent of how mentally her body is. In mentally, if she's in full of acceptance, okay, I'm just eating the food, fruit, and drink and all of those kinds of things. But then fundamentally, during that process, she has to be able to, what do you say, come to that stable state of mind and accept those illnesses as coming from the belief systems that are within her versus coming from the food that was within. So initially, first time when she ate, she got the problem. Let's say she had, let's say, bloating or IBS or something like that. Now that problem is actually, let's say, in progress. While it is in progress, continuously, whenever that fear or food based thing comes, whenever the triggers, whatever the emotions come, just sit and watch those emotions and constantly keep telling yourself that it is because of the belief systems that I have that this experience has come. It is not because of the food. Okay, so slowly, as repeatedly these things come up, so next time, let's say she might still be in fear for eating that food, she might still be in guilt, she might still have those things. Let's say her cravings, she could not stop the cravings, she went and ate it again. So this cycle will continue with a hit and miss. where sometimes she'll go eat, sometimes she'll not eat. So there is a hit and miss that is constantly happening. But if there is a hit, whenever she has a disease, whenever she had that problem, she has to go through with this with acceptance, so that during that process of cleansing, the belief systems can drop. She has to accept the problem as hers, as due to her belief systems versus something like food, because there is still that fear. It has not completely become acceptance, right? So this will keep going on, the cycle will go on as long as, but every time she watches herself, okay, there is this food, I'm getting that craving to eat that food, instead of thinking that, okay, I should not eat that food, just affirm to yourself that, okay, I can see this craving, and I can also see this uh, mind that is telling me that if you eat this, these things will happen. So at that time, whenever the mind tells, just go back and tell the mind, no, it is not because of the food. See, I still have belief systems, and which is why I'm still watching myself being in fear when I eat that food. Okay, there could be a chance, whether it is irrespective of all of this talking and irrespective of all of this, let's say, manan or that chintan that is happening, she'll either eat the food, or she may probably feel convinced that, okay, I don't have to eat the food. She may see, eating the food is actually very, 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 whether she eats or whether she doesn't eat, problem is not going to get resolved. This will, whether she eats or not, does not eat, what will actually resolve the problem is, see, detaching from the food being a source of this problem, or that fear has to be addressed. The fear has to be accepted as, instead of experiencing the fear, I actually, let's say, trapped it with all of these belief systems. So you need to be able to apply the process of acceptance and surrender, that it is actually me. See, I'm able to see me. I'm able to see all of these things. So in that process, in the action wise, eating, not eating, going back to that physical problems will keep happening. It is like a cycle, because we don't know at what point she's going to go to that 100% mark. But nothing should stop her from eating or not eating. If she's not eating, then she's still watching her emotions, and she's still working on that and accepting. If she's eating, then it'll lead to that physical problem, and during the physical problem also she's accepting. Either with the after eating she's going to go through acceptance, or before eating also there is a series of thoughts that come, and that introspection that she's doing and watching and all of that, that should also go through that acceptance process. So in this whole churning, right? In the whole churning of this mind for this particular aspect of craving, over a period of time, the, like they say in, like they say, the butter will come out. The churning will eventually lead to butter. It is actually a very subtle message, right? The subtle message says, the more you do manan and chintan, the more you uh, keep introspecting like this, over a period of time, what comes out is that wisdom, is that knowledge. So as you are refusing to believe that the food was a source of this problem, you're refusing to believe that the food is bad. You're refusing to believe that anything in creation can actually be bad. It was there, the creation, that food was actually sitting there. Who wanted that experience? We wanted that experience. We went and we ate the food. And then at that time, whatever was predominantly supposed to be experienced, those emotions, we blamed it on the food, because there were other experiences that were also parallelly running, right? It's not like we are just living to eat. We are living in general, we are living with other people and other experiences and all that. But then you blame it on the food for, let's say, some stomach pain. But that stomach pain would have actually been caused because of a lot of anger that was piled up, or a lot of self-esteem issues that were piled up. And over many, many months, which actually doesn't hurt us in any way. It's not like poking us, like paining anywhere. unless you experience physical pains, if you have experienced physical pains and physical problems, it means that you've actually taken months and months and years together to come to that point. And in that months and months and years together, you have actually even forgotten that um, those things have actually become a second nature. Thinking like that and hurting and piling up those emotions have actually become a second nature by the time it becomes physical, right? It has manifested into the body. Manifestation happens when you are able to basically, it becomes very natural. The belief becomes a very natural thing. And that's when it actually manifests. That is anyway the process of conscious manifestations also, right? So what I'm trying to tell in your case also, Kavish, if you look at the food, the thing that you mentioned here, let's see. I asked you to, I asked you to introspect. I said, when you look at food and you want to eat, oh, sorry, not that. I said, can you introspect and tell me what are the base emotions we feel when we take these actions? So you told me that um, shouldn't we listen to our beliefs and how eating something affects us and makes us, like eating something highly processed and oily will make me feel lethargic, bloated, or eating mindlessly without hunger will show some form of discomfort later. Won't ignoring our bodies. So initially, these things are anyway going to happen, right? We are in fear, we are constantly in reacting mode. So if I, let's say I eat something, and like I have already told, the stage for some physical manifestation has already been set in our body because of something else. But we blame it on the food that we ate, let's say yesterday or day before yesterday, or let's say today. Oh, yeah, I ate this food and it actually made me feel like this. See, food also comes with its own frequency. It is like, let's say there is a, there are people, there is a desert, and there is an Iceland where there is an icy cold temperatures, and there is a tropical temperatures in the world. If you go to desert, you will actually experience highly extreme hot temperatures and maybe highly cold temperatures. And if you go to, let's say, Iceland and things like that, you will experience snow, and winter will be like ice. You'll experience icy cold conditions. And if you go to tropical areas, it will be very pleasant, and it will also, you'll have a lot of greenery and those kinds of things. So what I'm trying to tell is, there are all kinds of food available in creation, but those foods are meant to only, let's say, vibrate at those frequencies. If you are resonating, if you are vibrating in that frequency, those foods are naturally in front of you like a pose, because pose is a reflection of who you are. So if you have all of these foods in front of you, and though, and that is what you see in all of those things, it is because that is where we vibrate at. Because initially you might go ahead and then choose those juices and fruits and all of those things, but it will raise your vibrations. And but over a period of time, but what about all of those emotions that are trapped, fear and other things that are trapped? Now you are blaming, let's say we are all blaming this, to this food is bad, that food is bad, because that food makes me this food makes me that. All of those belief systems are there. It is a fear based belief system. Fear is like a virus. Okay, virus, okay, I should not be saying virus. Fear is like something that is going to destroy us, right? So it is not the food that is destroying, it is the fear of food that is actually destroying us. It is the emotion that is constantly making us more and more problematic. So if you go to, if you walk, let's say the path that we have walked, how long do you think we have walked on this path without experiencing any of these problems? The same problems will continue to keep repeating, and there are points where you won't be able to explain why you actually had that problem. You know what is a fix, you'll, let's say, go and detox and all of that, but you'll again come back to the same point, right? It is not like you are still not happy. if does is all of this thing where you're trying to fix the body through external sources, is it keeping you happy? It may not be keeping you happy. You still you are still suffering inside at some point in time. So the only source of happiness is within. It cannot be from outside. Yeah, we may be very grateful for all the foods that we are getting for it to heal us and all of that, but it is a very temporary fix. The happiness cannot last there very long because the same foods may not work for you, or you may be wanting to eat some foods, but those again you can't eat those foods because of fear. So what is the toad, or what is the break from this particular deadlock? The deadlock is to face the fear in its very eyes. Like the way I explained earlier. You have to be able to, let's say, walk that path and also take the help of your juicing and other things, but mentally do not believe that the food that you ate actually caused the wheezing. You should be able to say, it is actually the belief system inside me that caused the wheezing. It is not the food. You may not eat the food. You can choose not to eat that food for some time, but refuse to believe like it's your best friend. No, I will not give up my best friend. I will never blame any food in future. That inner conviction has to come at some point. There is no good and bad. All the good and bad, all the labels that are there is because of the belief systems that I have inside me, because everything goes through me as a filter. If I see this bottle, and if I see it, if I see this bottle as red, right? If I see this bottle as red, I see it as red because it goes through a belief system where if this particular color and all of that processing that happens inside, there is a sense of processing that happens inside, which is actually giving me an understanding that this is a red bottle, right? Like that, we need to be able to accept that the problems that we are going through is not because of those external influences. It is because of the internal programming that we actually have. And you should refuse to believe that it is actually because of the external programming. And the more you continue to refuse to believe, and you start accepting, that refusal is equal to acceptance. So the more you accept that it is inside me, that whatever is inside me that made me this problem. Yeah, if it's inside you, so what can you do about it? You endure the period of suffering. You're enduring it, that sweet suffering. It's called sweet endurance, sweet happy, sweet acceptance, right? Go through that period. You can do juicing, you can do whatever it is to heal that, but don't put the blame on the POSC. And the more you continue to follow this path, the more you, let's say next time you'll see that food, then your mind will tell, oh, this is a very oily food. If I eat it, then my wheezing will get triggered. No, don't say that. See, oh, my mind is actually it's telling me, see, I still have that programming that if I eat that food, I'm going to get that wheezing. So watch your mind automatically executing those belief systems. At that time, see the fear behind it. The fear that is trapped behind it of, oh my God, I'm going to get that wheezing and I'm going to suffer and all of that, right? So watch that fear and say, oh, fear is actually, it's like that belief. There are so many belief systems that I have, and there is a trapped fear. I have a fear inside, which is why I have, and I don't want to experience that fear. And that fear has never been experienced fully. Every time, see, this fear is not actually because of this food. Before this food happened, which you blamed on the food, something else has actually caused all of these things. And you will never be able to figure out what all brought you to that point. Let's say soul plan brought you to that point, right? Let's leave it at that. So now, if you have to exit this deadlock, you have to be able to say, okay, fear is within me, fear is within you. Don't have to choose, you can choose not to eat that food also. But you're not eating that food not because you think it is bad. You are thinking that, okay, fine, I don't have to eat it. The whole work is about me processing this inside my mind So thank you for bringing up this topic again. Thank you, food, for bringing up this topic again. I'm going to work on it. So keep working on it this time. Next time also, let's say you see that food and probably you will not eat it, but you will have to still do that mind work. Maybe next time you'll probably eat it because it was like madur vade or let's say some masal vade or something. Let's say you eat it. And then once you ate it, let's say wheezing came. But this time the wheezing may not be that severe because you've already done some work in the couple of times in the past, right? Which were where you did not eat and then you actually worked on yourself. You accepted that fear. So this time the wheezing will not be that severe. So this, even if wheezing come, tell yourself, okay, this physical programming and all of that, this physical experience that I have is also because of those belief systems. And it has to be experienced with gratitude and all of that for me to be able to release it from my system. So while the wheezing is happening, you may do juicing, you may do fruits and all of that for the physical cleansing and all that, but mentally you should be in gratitude for that wheezing. And while you're in the gratitude for the wheezing and all of that, that period of wheezing is an opportunity. You should not waste that opportunity. And while you are in that process of experiencing the disease, mentally stay with a positive mind towards that and be in full acceptance that this experience is happening majorly because of what is within me as a program versus what brought this trigger to me. Okay, so that is very, very important. This opportunity, this window of opportunity is very, very important. Let's say now let's say wheezing is over. Next time also this will repeat. Either you'll see the food. There are so many other foods. It's not just this, right? So, we have literally, we have literally, um, we have literally done so much of work on this where we have had a lot of these belief systems. We have created a lot of cages within ourselves. And it was necessary for us to create these cages to go to the depths of the subject. And we have to be able to take this knowledge, churn the best out of this knowledge, and be able to take the wisdom back, the wisdom which is in oneness, and the wisdom and the knowledge which sort of had duality in it. We have to leave it behind and take it back. So you will have to go back to a point in the future with the nature cure knowledge where it does not have where it is not maligned with fear, where it is not maligned with any of the dualities, good, bad, ugly, and all of that. It has to be pure. The purity of that subject has to be carried along. The You'll have to be eating fruits for the joy of eating fruits. You'll have to be drinking juices for the joy of drinking juices. Appreciate the creative energy that comes from the juices and appreciate the taste of the fruits and not use it like a mistress. If you're using something to serve our ego, then we are using nature like our mistress. We should be more reverential towards nature and more having a gratitude for that nature, and just look at nature the way she is, enjoy nature the way she is versus using her for this. Yes, in this journey, nature herself has rather we have had, um, unless we are able to go to the depth and low frequency aspects of any subject, we will never get to know what to take, what to remove, and how to bring these two to oneness. You should know the full negative aspects of it. You should be able to see the full positive aspects of it, and then you should be able to say, okay, there is this good and bad. I'm going to stay in the center with a neutral approach, and I'll be able to see this also, I'll be able to see that also, and then take both, bring the oneness from both, and then I'll be able to go up with the same nature cure knowledge. You should be able to transform yourself into an evolved being with a lot more wisdom when nature gives us this kind of knowledge versus get stuck in that fear-based belief systems. So this, with the same thing, you can actually heal yourself also. Oh, sorry, with the same thing, you have healed yourself in the past, but it is not going to take you further anywhere on this journey. You have to exit the system with the oneness knowledge. Otherwise, you're going to sit and rot there, suffer for lives, which is what we are all doing, right? Many people sort of get obsessed with the feeling of the body actually enjoying healing. And it is like a Preyaskar and Shreyaskar that we have learned, right? Preyaskar is something that will give you short-term happiness, but in the long term, it will actually destroy you. That 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 thought process is actually going to destroy you. Anything that is Shreyas, in the long run, it is actually good. So we need to be able to, in the short run, it is not. So we should be able to look at it from that perspective. So on this path of nature cure, we should be able to see where all you have fears and drop those fears, watch those fears, accept those fears, and all the experiences that you have got or you're getting because of those fears also have to be accepted as what is coming from within, due to things that are within than external. Because see, this body is something that we will drop today, tomorrow we will drop that body. How much will you should use this body to get that knowledge, or use this body and other external sources to get the knowledge and take that knowledge back with you to the next body. If you think that this body is permanent and you keep fixing the body, feel happy with that fixing, feel happy that ultimately, whatever you struggled so much for to keep the body happy, to keep all of this perfect and all of that, ultimately that is going to go to the grave. So what is the use if you've not learned anything from this nature cure? What is the use of constantly fixing that body and living in fear? What did you learn? What are you going to take back to your next life? What wisdom are you going to take back to your next life? Because we are not this body. So we need to be able to use all of these props, all of these poses. Into body is also a POSC. So how are you going to be able to use the POSC body, POSC food, POSC other POSCs and all of that, all the experiences, all of that you need to be able to use to basically extract the wisdom and take it back with you to your next life. And that is what is evolving all about, right? Dropping all of the negative or the limited belief systems that we have. And it is created, or this experience is also created majorly because we have limited sources here in this food based area, for me, for you, and many of the people in this journey, because we have probably created a lot of belief systems against food that we had to actually experience this journey through food only, and the food only has sort of uplifted for me. This kind of understanding that food has helped me understand all these things came when I was doing gratitude work. I was doing a lot of gratitude work, pages and pages and pages. I used to sit and write and do gratitude. At one point, there was a very high level of awareness that came. There was a very high level of awareness that came at one point where I felt that I was actually going to this. I had got lost, and I went to this island, right? I went to this island, and there I saw, let's say, all of these people saved me and all of that. And all of these people saved me. And from there, I came back to the mainland. And there in the mainland, I'm basically telling, oh, see, these people actually, they had all of these problems and they treated me like this and those things and all of that. So I'm basically talking bad about them. So I felt that this is what happened with respect to me also, right? Um, I did this. The same foods that I ate in the past, I came now and then I maligned those foods. So so see, we have gone to those frequencies where those foods existed, and then we went there for an experience. So I just felt that, okay, coming out of that experience, we experienced it, and then we got whatever we got from it, and then if we move on from that point, we can't go back and say, okay, that is bad. So whatever you've eaten today and you call them bad is actually something that you've eaten in the past also, right? So hence I started believing that it's not the food, it's our mindset and our belief system. And as how to heal this belief system, how to work on these cages, how to free the imprisoned emotion is something that I've already explained in this video. So hence, I think you've got the clarification by now. So see if you can apply this and let me know what you think. Thank you.